I've got a scimitar. Right, let's go and have a look at it. Hang on a second. Let's take this from the beginning. Back in 2019, when the world seemed normal, I was thinking about rebuilding my workshop to finally do work on my 1966 Austin Mini. At the time, however, I was considering other vehicles since my Fiat Punto was, and still is, fulfilling most of my automotive needs perfectly reliably. Roll on to September, and I was browsing the Grit Facebook page, previously Northern Retro, and I came across a post about a Mark V Ford Escort being dwarfed by a new Ford Focus. I commented, I started getting interested in the Reliant Scimitar recently, having previously passed it off as too big and cumbersome. The Scimitar is 7 inches narrower and a foot shorter than that Focus, and I got a very interesting reply. After explaining that I didn't have any money, the next reply had me staring at my phone in disbelief. Having been forwarded some pictures, most would see the overspray on the floor, the exhaust tips, and the tyres and go, nah, it looks too bodged, I think I'll pass. But I saw a project car that had previous efforts to restore and thought, how hard can it be? I messaged Alan and said, I'll take it, and arranged to go and see it a few weeks later. Seeing the car in person for the first time revealed a much nicer blue than the pictures first suggested. The interior was in seemingly nice condition, although very dusty and completely missing seats. The engine was, present, and turnable with a big bar with audible compression. Looking in the wheel arch, I could see the brakes had been overhauled and were just surface rusted. The chassis... hang on a second. What's that bit? We'll get onto that later. Not long after confirming I'd have the car, I went to see another Scimitar, to take its interior, which was educational, as this was an earlier SE5 version, not the SE5A, which has a different interior, doors, and many other parts despite looking so similar. Also, there was a dog. With the interior collected and the first tyres that I could scrabble about for free fitted onto the Wolf Race wheels, I went to collect my new car. Now I've just got to tow it up there. The Scimitar arrived back seeing rain for the first time in years, and as with my Mini, you can find the video in the description, the first thing that we did was try and start it, which went well.
Don't start smoking, just disconnect it.
3, 2, 1.
Boom! You ready? Out of gear. Yeah, because it's rolling.
Yeah, that's out of gear.
Spoiled the fun, hasn't it?
Yeah, can you put it in gear and then just roll it back a little bit?
Yeah, that's the engine.
Yep,
Yeah.
Engine's turning.
Give it a tap. Hang on, Dale, wire's not on starter motor.
Oh, is that the wire dangling down there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
turn the booster off a minute. Wakey, wakey.
Good old English electric.
Oh!
There's power to it. I think we'd have to have a starter off and investigate with that.
Or I can take the chassis off and restore it. I just said take the chassis off, I meant take the body off. With the Scimitar now placed on my friend's ramp with absolutely no intention of annoying a colleague that has since left, I bodged the rear seats in place to get a feel for the interior, but noticed I kept getting ill every time I sat in the car. After I filmed a tour of the interior with a properly working torch, I found out why. Oh my god, now I've actually got a torch and a camera on it, I can see how mouldy it is in here. So that's why I got ill. Let's get cleaning. Later on in the video series, you'll find that this was technically a pointless endeavour, but at the same time, I had no idea what lurked underneath the carpets or if I'd even be keeping them. So, starting with the clean sheet of carpet seemed like a good idea. So that only took a few hours. Now, I did have ideas of running a Scimitar and a Mini at the same time, partly because they were both blue. But I realised my Punto, also blue, did everything that my Mini could and more. So, I sold it to fund the Scimitar restoration, and this turned out to be a very good move. But more on that later. I have no idea what I'm doing, nor do I have any idea how I'm going to get to a starter motor that is my finger's on it, can't see it, I have no idea where any of the bolts are or which way they come out, but it's not going to start without a starter motor, so I guess I better get on with it. Well, starter motor. It spins. So, where I thought it may be seized, it is not. So, when it was refusing to turn before, there's another reason. Something tells me it was just the wiring, being that half of it's disconnected. Still, it's out now, so I may as well refurbish it. Well, and test it. Battery.
Earth, live,
Yep.
screwdriver,
Yep.
screwdriver.
Yeah.
But what we heard of it, the solenoid's throwing, so I'm expecting that to throw out,
Yep.
but it weren't spinning. Now it could be a case that Earth's not good enough, because you've actually got no Earth going back up again.
Maybe because it had been painted.
Doesn't help.
And then you put the live one on. I need 2 screwdrivers.
Yeah. Gonna make you jump.
It spins. That's all I really needed, don't it?
No, it needs to throw and spin, do
Does it
it?
need to throw and spin?
Throw and spin.
So it might have been this one that wasn't quite on.
Yeah. No, it just depends. Tried to throw, but it didn't throw. Tried throwing and throw.
Oh, bloody hell.
Tried to throw. Tried throwing it.
Do a throwy thing.
Well, it must have been spinning, but not throwing.
Whole bench and floor is vibrating.
Just have a look and see if it's just trying to throw. It first starts trying, then done.
Oh yeah, it moves only a smidge, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's moving like 1/8 of an inch or something, isn't it? But not.
Yeah. Right. So what you need to do then, so we're not main starters, alright?
Yep, which is
What we
good.
need to do then is take this tin guard off,
Yep,
those 2 bolts,
yep.
because the actuator
It's going to be somewhere in here.
is moving.
Yep.
But it's not your fork arm that's stuck.
Nope.
That's moving, so it's probably actually the electrical solenoid, which is that part, which
Which
you
is
can
in some way.
undo those, and then you can pull your plunger out, and there's stick in the plunger that been stood a long time. So I'll try that for starters.
Okie dokie. I'll tell you what though, you were right. I didn't need to buy the brushes.
You need to buy brushes. Don't buy anything. Don't buy anything until you actually need it.
So it comes up and up, but will it weak?
Oh yeah. Ah, you stabbed me.
At least you didn't have a whole starter motor dropping on you. Boy.
Pull or push?
No idea.
Pull. Pulls, not pushes.
Well, it'd have to pull because it'd pull that way, rotate on that point, and push it that way, wouldn't it?
Yeah. That works.
Yep, that works.
It's a little bit stiff, but
God, that's just one whole casting, isn't it?
yeah.
It's mega.
Oh, you got a split diaphragm.
Ooh.
Not that I don't think that should make any difference.
Well, that'd just stop crap getting into it, wouldn't it? It wouldn't.
Yeah, it's more of stopping dust getting up and in.
Yeah. I'm gonna get copyright flag with this. Sorry. So why?
Yeah, I was half expecting that to be stuck
Yeah.
in there and in.
Where's the bit that said Lucas? Yeah, there we go.
Pull that in. Right. Now grab your booster back, grab it onto that and try that. No, none of that's seized.
Because once that spring's compressed, then you can even feel the actual diaphragm in there, or the
Yeah.
whatever the
if
mechanism
you push
is.
that down, you'll feel it.
I could even see it.
You get double spring at the outer
Yeah,
and then the
yeah, you get the outer,
Yeah.
and then there's an extra
yeah.
little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
How?
Yeah.
Could just the physical amount of effort that's having to take to go back and forth, because you said it's not that free,
Yeah, it's
could it just not be powerful enough? As in, it's not lubed enough or something?
it's a little bit stiff, but it's not bad. The lever looks a bit to one side. Let's see why is it to one side. If you look down there, it looks to be off to one side. I don't know if it should be or not, but yeah, let's get a bit of lube on. That's missing it. That sorted it. I centralised it.
Ah. I can't focus. There we go.
It was a little bit stiff on that, but not mega. Oh, that's better.
Oh. Oh, it's falling over to the left now.
Yeah.
Why has it done that? You can hear that that's looser. I mean, I have a free hand, I can hold the torch for you.
Bit of lube in it, it's got it. It feels free now, does that? Feels a lot freer, I feel it.
Mm.
Probably hasn't had any lubrication in there for some years.
There's even some numbers in there. Some numbers. No idea what they mean. So you do the hooky thing, and then I'm holding it that way.
Yeah, you like that. Oh, we're using that.
Okay. Ah, a wedge.
Just like that.
Yeah. Can't do it with your fingers, you've got to use a hooky thing. And then we put the rubber doodle on.
Yeah, you don't want that going in, you want your inner going first because it has to go over that loop there.
What do you reckon?
Don't know, I can't see. Can't see anything.
Neither
It's
can
like
I.
dark.
Yeah, it's almost like it goes dark in winter at 6:30. Well, we can do that if you want.
You grab starter, mind your fingers.
Yeah, I'm going to lift it up this time.
Face it downwards. Oh, you're there.
Is it on?
Yeah, you've got it.
Okay.
Yeah. And then that ring goes on, all the way up. In. Nice and gentle. That's on. But we'll have a little bit of lubrication. That goes on.
Is it that way? It's got to be that way, hasn't it?
Does it?
I think so.
You sure?
No.
Positive.
No. Yeah, that went on there.
Yeah.
That was it. Yeah, it's got to be that way now.
Right, try it in.
Oh, can't try it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll try it tomorrow.
Okay.
Not that much on this side too. And then the wheels are there.
Front end, and the wheel.
Actually, soon we can go straight.
Yeah, that's just now.
Yep. To be honest, I might just keep going at that and then I can faff about. Sort of just going backwards and forwards shimmying.
You sure?
No. I'll do left walking there.
Lock
Is it?
Forward.
Oh yeah, it is already on it. About that.
You're in.
So now.
There we are.
Oh, I fell over a thing. Okay, that makes me happy. How am I going to work on that? There's no room. It's a lot bigger than a Mini. There we go. No, we want to go that way, don't we? There we go. Fancy actually focusing in on me, camera. I've got a real light Scimitar. Happy me. Right, let's go and have a look at it. It's an interesting vehicle because, you know, on the face of it, there's some shine to the paint and it's a lovely blue colour that could be an original one, but it isn't because actually, if you go to the door shut, it is not an original colour because we have some green here. It's clearly been done with a rattle can in the rain, as proved on the bonnet. Yeah, look at that. And there's some quite interesting bodges on the car. Yeah, see that bit there? But it's not meant to be that shape. But it's fine, there's a piece of wood sort of up the inside of the car and inside the door, so I'm sure it's held together with lots of strength. And the front end is interesting as well, because, well, they're not original side lights. 10 points for anyone who guesses what they're from. What else have we got on the front? Oh, we've got wonky S. I quite enjoy that. It's not falling off yet, so I think that'll stay there until it actually goes on the road. Yeah, everything's rusty and whatever, but if you actually look at some of the nuts and bolts and washers and things, some of them are, you know, shiny. And also the brake discs have got hardly any wear on at all. It kind of looks as if it's been maintained over time, but it's not actually driven anywhere. Let's go around to the back. It's not that bad. I mean, the paint is still terrible and flaking off in places. I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be chrome. Nope, it's blue. The boot is propped open with a broom. I've got some cool old seat belts. I don't think I can do that one-handed. Oh, maybe I can. Boing! There we go. They don't really inertia reel though, they just kind of inertia flop. But let's move to the interior. Here it is. It's not the original interior. Mine didn't actually come with any seats. So the rear seats are from just an SE5, whereas this is an SE5A. It's probably worth actually showing the interior bits, which have sort of been covered in, I don't know, it feels like one of them really rough dogs. I dare say that underneath this it's probably in quite good condition, because, well, it's been protected by glue and fluff. That goes to the fuel pump and tank sender and things. Oh, and the filler neck. Yes, fair enough, it's all good there, but that's the rest of it. It's... the door opens quite nicely. We have Jaguar XJS seats, which were going to go in my Mini, which is... Can you see it? Yeah, well that's sold, but the guy hasn't collected it because there's a virus going on. I don't know if you've watched the news, it might have been mentioned a couple of times. So, the interior. Well, we have no switches. We've got, a center console. That's quite amusing because, well, I don't know, someone decided it was furniture, so they've put... It's functional. Gear knob from the same car as the indicator and side light units. An AC4 straight 6 positive rev counter, which does not match the rest, but that's okay because I bought one that is correct. Door doesn't shut very nice because this bit's loose. And I was working under here, so actually most of the tools and things are still under. Engine! Don't know if it runs yet. I managed to get the starter motor off and sort of restored it, but it isn't on yet because it turns out it's a lot harder to put on than it is to take off. No radiator, and that doesn't really lead me on, but I will go to the car's most interesting feature now. Tell me if I'm wrong, but that big piece of metal there shouldn't be there. That is the start of many interesting little bits. I don't think these bits under here are supposed to be there either. No, it gets more interesting when we go into the front wheel arch. That's a piece of box, angle that's been added. That's a piece of angle that's been added. That's a piece of angle that's been added. This is a piece of angle that's been added, and there's another flat piece under there that's been added. There's plenty more there as well. It just, every single part that you can get to put more metal on, one of the previous owners, of which there are 11, they appear to have added lots of metal. So we've got some more that kind of triangulates it up here, and then a flat piece down that does nothing, that then connects it to this piece that goes the entire length of the vehicle on both sides, and then we've got more pieces that connect it up as well. Hang on, is that an interior switch? The hell is that doing there? I knew I had 4 switches, not 3. Did that fall down the bloody gear lever? At least I know where it is now. Crying out loud. Quite a few interesting little things about this thing. Oh, I got it for free as well. It's a free car. It doesn't work, but it's a free car. For all I know, the bloody could only actually be running on 4 cylinders. And the conrods might be snapped in half for all I know. I don't know. Thank you for watching, if you got this far. Bye. What a terrible video.